All right, guys, what's going on? Just coming back at you guys today with another speed scope. Well, not another, a speed scope. It's a new series I'm trying to start doing. Kind of want to have a little more consistency in posting, and I felt like this would be one of a very good way to get a little more consistent, since it's not something that takes forever to edit or uh really do much of besides just do it and post. So today we're gonna be doing Doc Ock, Otto Octavius, whichever you want to call him. And yeah, I was recently watching the new Spider-Man TV show, so I have my opinions on it, but that I'll get to that later. And so basically, we're just kind of going based off of that more classic Doc Ock look. I'll put the references I'm using up here, so you guys can see them when I'm like editing later on. But this is voiceover, so you're basically listening to me, the current editor, editing on, if that made any sense. But yeah, and currently we're just blocking out his face. He has a very square face. I was really trying to get like that form down just to really make you feel like this guy's kind of a blockhead, literally. Like his face is super square. And he's like kind of overweight, but at the same time he's not overweight. So I'm kind of like trying to like find a nice middle ground, cuz if you could see in the references, like his cheekbones and everything are very clearly defined, but normally you can't really define that very much if you're like a bit bigger. But at the same time, when you look at like different comic books and stuff with Doc Ock, he's either just like extremely brolic and muscular, or he's just kind of like pudgy and big, which is really funny. So I kind of went for like just a bit of a middle ground. And so yeah, right here I'm just adding the eyes, just trying to get like all the primary forms down before I get into anything too crazy with the details. But no, I really like how he looks in the show. I don't really care for this show very much. I think that Peter is a bit of a pushover. Peter is a pushover. It's not a bit. He's like beyond a pushover. I actually think it's a little like sad, to the point where it's just kind of like, I don't know, like this kid. He's like, well, first of all, he's like beyond the goody two shoes. Like I don't think anything bad that has happened in the show to Peter wasn't not because he was just out, because he was so adamant that he had to help people. And it just kind of feels like, I get it, but this kid's in high school. Like, when's he gonna do something like mildly selfish, or like anything like mildly? I mean, I get it. He's a superhero. They're trying to make him as appealable, as relatable, appealing as possible, but it's not very relatable because I'll tell you, in high school, I was not looking to save the world, or at least if I did have powers, I wouldn't. I highly doubt I would have been out fighting crime daily. I probably would have been doing something more malicious. And though that sounds bad, but you get it. But we did increase the size of his head here. I really like how it was coming out at this point. Now that I'm looking back at it, he kind of looks like he could be in between like Doc Ock, Kingpin, or like any other Marvel villain. If you guys like know Wicked 3D, the people who make like, they make like mad like superhero 3D prints. It started to, well, not, it didn't start to. Now that I'm looking back at it, it kind of looks like something Wicked 3D would make, which I don't know how to feel about, because now that I've gotten better, I'm kind of like, dang, like, so like I don't even need Wicked anymore. Like I could be on Wicked's team and make them sculpts and stuff. But that was stupid. I don't know why I said that, but I don't know why I don't know why that came into my head, but it was just funny. But yeah, right here, just added the ears. We're trying to add a bit more detail to his eyes, his folds, all the wrinkles. I don't think I got into wrinkling just yet. I still think I'm trying to get a feel down for. Oh yeah, I do add wrinkles. So yeah, I add some of the wrinkles. Gotta make the back of his head look a little better. Just kind of get in some of those little fat folds in there. But no, yeah, when it comes to Doc Ock, I don't really know too much about him, lore wise. Like, I mean, everybody knows from I was about to say Christopher Nolan, from Tom Raimi Spider-Man. Doc Ock, amazing scientist, tried to harness the power of the sun, ended up with what, four tentacles for arms, Doc Ock, there you go. But I mean, in terms of like comic book wise, no, I don't know too much about him. And I've been reading some more older comics lately, but like the only thing I could tell you about Doc Ock is that I know for a period of time he was like gearing up to marry Aunt May in like one in a comic book. I'll put it on the screen if I could find it for you guys, but I think that's really like it was just some funny. It was just funny that that's like the only thing I can really remember about Doc Ock. And yeah, but like that's besides the point. Right here I'm just like getting in some more forms, but normally whenever I like think to sculpt a character, it's usually just brought upon the fact that like I'll get more into their lore. Like I watched this one guy on YouTube, his name's like Marvelous, I don't know what it is, I forget, I'm gonna put it on screen. And I've just been watching more of him, so I was kind of like, oh wow, like this guy has some really good content lore wise. Like if you guys want to watch him, I would definitely suggest him. Comic tropes, strange brain parts, those three in like that order, I guess. I don't know, but definitely like those are some really good lore. But at the end of the day, I always say if you really want to get into stuff, just open a damn comic book. Like it's your, it's gonna be your best bet. And yeah, so right here we're just adding the eyebrows. So far it's coming out really good. I really tried to just, this isn't like a tutorial or how-to video. This is just me commentating over this video just so like it feels a little more fleshed out than normal, even though I'm not really commentating over what I'm doing. But here I'm just trying to add eyebrows, kind of give the eyebrows a bit more of a hairy look. I definitely want to find a faster way to make more realistic eyebrows, because I feel like when it came to his eyebrows and his hair in general, I felt like it just looked kind of like tacked on in like a sort of like action figure way, which I didn't like. I kind of wish it came out a little more realistic looking, but at the same time, I think this sculpt lasted like I think between both videos it was like uh 4 3 hours, so I guess like I don't know, there really wasn't any much time to really do anything too realistic, so for what it's worth it came out pretty decently. Like I didn't sound like I had time to add skin texture and everything. And like in the references, Doc Ock has like this massive bowl cut, so I was really trying to get that look in, kind of have him look more like I don't want to say nerd, but I mean, I don't really know what you would describe that cut like that. It definitely is reminiscent of like somebody who does their own haircut. Like they don't care enough to go and get their own hair done. So that's what I was kind of going for. Because it's essentially literally just like a bowl cut with bangs. No, not even with bangs. It's just a bowl cut. So that's what I was kind of going for. And he has like a couple of cowlicks too, but I didn't add that just yet. But I added in later when I show you the full render. And right here, I'm just making his goggles. Some of them he wears kind of like these black glasses. Others of them he wears like these really like thick goggles. I went for the thicker goggles. I wanted this to feel a little more like a classic Doc Ock with a bit more of a modern spin. Even though there's nothing really making him feel modern in this, so I'm gonna take that back. It's not really a modern spin. It's more just like Doc Ock, but you know he's classic Doc Ock. He just looks realistic, but yeah, it was definitely, just adding appending, smoothing out, just getting all the forms in. And yeah. But no, back to the Spider-Man show. I really felt like if you love Tom Holland, if you like the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man, you would literally die after watching like the masterpiece that is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. If you don't like Tom Holland, or even if you just didn't really enjoy like Tom Raimi's too, I don't think this is for you. Like I think you might you might pass out from watching the show. Like it's not for you. For me, it definitely wasn't for me. It kind of felt like the side characters were definitely really good, but I definitely feel like Peter himself just really doesn't feel like a Peter Parker, or at least he definitely doesn't feel like a Peter Parker I care for. To be fair though, I used to have a Nook, and I literally grew up watching like the MTV Spider-Man, like the New Adventures of Spider-Man made by MTV. So that's like my version of Spider-Man that I grew up with, so I can't really say that, you know, I'm really like I know how he should be acting in this and the third, but he just feels like quite a bit of a pushover. But just before I get back into that right here, I finished most of the sculpt, so I'm just getting back into the poly painting. Just kind of painting him up to make him look a little more, get ready for a little more realism. Essentially what I'm doing here is just adding some color zones in his face, which is just like, the coldest and warmest zones of the face. I'll put up a photo to kind of show where I was going with it. And I just added his skin tone and it all came together really nicely. But yeah, I think Peter in the show is he's definitely a Spider-Man, that's for sure. But I really just feel like the show in general, it's not for me. And I mean, it shouldn't be. It's freshman year Peter Parker. It's probably made for little kids, even though most people I see who watch it and commentate on it are literally like grown adults. So I don't know how many kids are watching that show. But I really couldn't tell you. I don't know how many people even have Disney Plus, because like I know damn well sure I didn't buy Disney Plus to watch it, so I don't know who else is. But I mean, good for them. Like good for them. I can't say anything about that. And so yeah, we're just adding some color to everything. We went with the eyes, the goggles. We went for that lime green. Um, Kind of started before adding some asymmetry to his face so he didn't look like a perfect sculpt. This was a 1 day thing. There's a lot of things I would fix with it if I had the chance, but I'm kind of like telling myself, okay, we make these in a day, we don't touch them again. Like these are just kind of practice in a sense. So if I could go back, it would look so much better, but I'm gonna leave it alone because I think that's important to just let go. And so right here, I'm just giving him a bit of an angle in his head, kind of make it look like he's looking down on somebody. He has a big ego, so I wanted to kind of accentuate that. And this is the finished product right here. This is him doing a little circle move after everything is all said and done, and it came out really well. I really liked how it looked. And then I also have a rendered version I'll put after this, but yeah, I think it came out really well. And that was just some of my thoughts while I do this little speed sculpt. So yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys hopefully next week or sooner next time for something new. Don't know who I'm gonna do yet, but I guess we'll figure that out later. So yeah, peace out.